From Pelé's era to the modern game, football has always been about timing, knowing when to move, when to stay, and when to fight for your place. Right now, there are 8 forwards who've completely read the room. Some have been frozen out, some have quietly been told the door is open, some have put in performances that deserve so much better than the situation they're in, and at least one of them is trapped in a career loop so frustrating, you almost feel bad watching it unfold. Some of these situations will shock you. Let's get into it. Starting with the man who went from Premier League champion to complete afterthought in under 12 months. Darwin Nunez. Just last summer, Liverpool cashed out on him for €53 million, and Nunez landed at Al Hilal, ready for a proper fresh start in Saudi Arabia. It started reasonably enough. 9 goals and 5 assists in all competitions across the first half of the season. Not world-class numbers, but respectable. Then Karim Benzema arrived from Al Ittihad in January, and everything changed overnight. Nunez was deregistered from Al Hilal's Saudi Pro League squad entirely, not dropped to the bench, completely cut from the domestic squad. A player who cost over €50 million, banned from even featuring in league football, restricted to playing AFC Champions League games only. Coach Simone Inzaghi publicly called the decision difficult, but he made it anyway, and Nunez has been left in limbo ever since. The humiliation has been real, and every serious European club knows it. Juventus have made a formal inquiry. Chelsea are monitoring. Reports even link Fenerbahce. A return to Europe this summer is near certain. The only question is, which club is willing to foot the bill? Because Al Hilal aren't releasing him for free. His contract runs until 2028. And speaking of players stuck in uncomfortable situations, Richarlison at Tottenham has one too, just of a very different kind. Here's what makes his case so fascinating. The Brazilian is actually Spurs' top scorer this season with 9 Premier League goals. Not a flop, not a bench warmer. He's been their most reliable attacker in a season of total chaos. But chaos is exactly the problem. Tottenham are deep in the Premier League relegation zone, and the club that paid £50 million to sign him from Everton could be playing Championship football next season. A verbal agreement is reportedly in place for a summer exit, with Spurs willing to accept around €25 million, a massive loss on what they paid. His contract runs to 2027, meaning this summer is the last window where they can realistically recoup any meaningful fee before he walks on a free. Flamengo are leading the chase from Brazil, with Turkey and Saudi Arabia also in the mix. Richarlison wants Champions League level football, and right now, Tottenham can't even guarantee Premier League survival. Now, Number 3 is a guy who says publicly he wants to stay, but the situation around him is telling a completely different story. Gabriel Jesus. Arsenal signed Victor Gyökeres last summer for £55 million to solve their striker problem, and it's worked well enough, with Gyökeres posting 18 goals in all competitions. Between him and Kai Havertz, Jesus has been reduced to just 2 league starts this entire season. 2. His contract at the Emirates runs to 2027, but transfer expert Fabrizio Romano confirmed in April that Jesus changed agents at the very start of 2026, specifically to begin assessing his future options. That's not a coincidence. Arsenal are reportedly open to a sale if a convincing bid arrives, and the club have already been linked with a new striker for next season. Palmeiras remains the dream destination Jesus has spoken about openly, describing it as a very strong desire. Saudi Arabia has also been floated. The words say he wants to stay and finish his contract. But changing your agent is the first move a player makes when they're preparing to leave. Watch this space very carefully when the window opens. Here is where the list takes a wild turn, because the next man didn't fail. He absolutely thrived, and yet he still cannot get back to where he genuinely wants to be. Ivan Toney. 27 goals in 27 Saudi Pro League games this season, 1 goal per game. He is without question the most lethal striker in Saudi Arabia, tearing through defences every single week. And yet his England chances are slowly disappearing because Thomas Tuchel barely looks at players outside the top European leagues. Toney wants back in the Premier League before the 2026 World Cup, and clubs are aware. Everton have been the most specific and concrete name linked, genuinely working through whether a deal is possible. But here is the brutal reality. His wages in Saudi Arabia are enormous. Al Ahly hold a contract on him until 2028, and they have absolutely zero reason to sell a striker who scores at a rate most Premier League clubs would pay a fortune for. This transfer, if it happens, will be one of the most complicated and expensive deals of the whole summer window. But Toney is determined, and a World Cup year has a way of forcing even the most stubborn situations to move. And now, One of the quietest but genuinely fascinating situations in the whole of English football, Beto at Everton. On the surface, he's been decent this season, scoring twice and laying on an assist in a 3-0 hammering of Chelsea as recently as March 21st, showing exactly what he can do on his day. But behind the scenes, something significant has happened. Beto has reportedly turned down a contract extension offer from Everton, with his current deal entering its final year this summer. Fenerbahce have been specifically named as a club that's confident about signing him, circling with a move planned for the summer. Everton face a now familiar dilemma: sell him while they still have a year left on his deal and recoup around £17 million, or risk him leaving for nothing in 2027. He's not making noise, he's not demanding a move publicly, but turning down a new contract is the loudest silent statement a footballer can make. Right, let's talk about Brobby, because this is one of the feel-good transfer sagas of the summer. Before this season, most people outside the Netherlands knew him as the Ajax guy, with bags of potential who never quite exploded. Then, Sunderland paid around £17 million to bring him in last summer, and the 24-year-old Dutchman has been a revelation. 6 goals in 25 Premier League appearances doesn't fully tell his story. It's the physicality, the movement off the ball, the way he drags defenders and opens space for teammates like Granit Xhaka and the rest of a remarkably well-drilled side. Bayern Munich have now been concretely linked, viewing Brobby specifically as a long-term competitor and partner for Harry Kane. Sunderland have made their position crystal clear. They want at least €40 million and won't be bullied into anything. But here's the thing about Sunderland: they've been here before with rising assets, and they know their leverage. When Bayern Munich decide they want a player, the conversation tends to move pretty fast. Brobby won't be at the Stadium of Light forever. The only question is, what price forces Sunderland to finally pick up the phone? And now, for the one that genuinely hurts to watch, Kolo Muani. When he ripped through Juventus defences on loan last season, 10 goals in 22 appearances, the football world expected him to be a wanted man heading into this summer. Instead, he ended up at Tottenham on a straight loan with no buy option, posting just 1 Premier League goal and 1 assist across 23 league appearances. Tottenham have already confirmed they have no interest whatsoever in signing him permanently. He returns to PSG this summer, but PSG are done with him too. Luis Enrique has shown no interest in reintegrating him into their squad. Juventus are reportedly keen on another loan spell. 2 loans in 2 years from one of the most expensive signings in PSG history. His contract in Paris runs to 2028. The 2026 World Cup is here. France have too many attackers. Time is genuinely brutally running out for Kolo Muani to rescue what should have been a brilliant career. And finally, the one that's been impossible to ignore: Eli Junior Kroupi, 19 years old, 10 Premier League goals in his debut top-flight season. The first teenager to hit double figures in the English top flight in over a decade, with the last being Romelu Lukaku in 2012-13. He scored against Arsenal away from home just recently, and within hours the phones were ringing across Europe. Manchester United sent scouts specifically to watch him. Liverpool are preparing a move. Chelsea want him. Arsenal are tracking. Real Madrid and PSG are also in the conversation. Bournemouth have placed a £60 million price tag on the player, and he's reportedly interested in making the leap to Champions League football. He is under contract until 2030, meaning Bournemouth hold every card. But at 19, with this kind of debut season behind him, this summer was always going to be the moment the biggest clubs came calling. The only question now is who gets him, and whether Bournemouth can hold their nerve long enough to squeeze the absolute maximum out of a bidding war that could go all the way to the very last day of the window. One of the most exciting young forwards in European football, and he's only just getting started. 8 forwards, 8 completely different stories, but one thing in common: they all want a change of scenery. Drop your prediction in the comments. Which one makes the biggest move this summer? Smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're first to know when the next one drops. Catch you in the next one. Bye.